This is one that I know will frustrate some people. Nate and I are both here talking about games that we agreed between each other. Everyone seems to love or like that we just do not enjoy at all. We just dislike most of these on the list. Now, this does not mean that you can't like this, okay?
You've already offended people, by the way.
No, I want to say that we are not the police of enjoyment here. We are talking about our perspective, why we do not like these games, and we will also be making a list in the near future about games that we like that are very, very unpopular. So this goes both ways. This is not just a us trashing what you like thing. So if you enjoy these, please by all means continue to enjoy them and do not let two idiots like us ruin it for you, because we are not the authority on gaming here.
I am, but you're not.
Okay, well, I just don't want them to know that I am.
Right.
I have actually been sent here by Yahweh to judge games,
Okay.
and I judge them as either worthy or unworthy.
That's very humbling that you would put yourself in that position.
Well, I didn't put myself there. God did.
Right.
I'm just an emissary of God.
Exactly.
Number 5. The first one is one I don't think anyone will care we don't like. That is Metroid Zero Mission. There's going to be someone who cares, but I don't think we think this is a bad game at all. In fact, I don't think we really think any games on this list are bad. They are just most definitely not for us. And with Metroid Zero Mission, the sheer difficulty spikes in this game. This is coming from somebody who plays Dark Souls and Bloodborne for fun.
Right.
Okay. I hated it. Like, there would be parts of the game where you're playing and you're thinking, oh man, I'm having a great time. This is really cool. I love going through this area. I just unlocked a new upgrade. But then you'll get somewhere and you'll be like, how do I even get through this? And there will be no explanation to it. And they give you the illusion that the world is open, but it is actually very closed off, because if you do not have very, very specific key upgrades, there is like one path you can take and it is very hidden.
People swear by this game being like, oh, well, it's fine. It's easy or whatever. You just need to know what you're doing.
Yeah, if you memorize the game, sure, anything's easy.
Yeah, that's my point. That's the problem. If you're a first-time player of this game, which we both were, we both just recently played it. We were a first-time player of it.
Putting a Let's Play up on the Let's Play channel. Check it out.
Nice plug-in. It was very frustrating because we didn't know where to go. And on top of that, all the levels, I felt like there were some levels that were fine, but I felt like there was a lot of areas in the game that were just so unbelievably hard for no reason.
I remember how relieved we were to just be done.
I know, and then
it's sad because we both love the Metroid franchise, and we got Dread, and we're very excited to get that. So it's not like we even hate the side-scroller Metroids or anything like that. It's just that this game was incredibly frustrating for no reason.
Yeah.
Now, if you play the original, this is far less frustrating than the original.
Right.
But, I mean, like, come on. You know, it's like asking if you want to get hit in the balls with a baseball bat or with a golf club. Like, yes, one's probably preferable, but they both really hurt.
Right. Or the Gordian knot from Casino Royale.
This whole thing, that would be at least you get the itch scratched,
right,
like
exactly.
Daniel Craig said. But this whole game experience just felt like waiting to be done for both of us.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of rewarding stuff in general. The photo gallery you unlock at the end of the game is terrible. It's just like almost nothing. You do unlock the ability to play the original game, which is just a worse version of Zero Mission, so oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves this original Metroid game. We don't.
No. Number 4. It's the fourth one.
4.
The next one, I will admit, part of it is that we suck. That is Apex Legends. I have never had an iota of fun playing Apex Legends. Right. Except for the first time I turned it on. Big fan, obviously, of Titanfall 2. I love that game. That's actually part of what makes this game so disappointing to me, is that the whole thing feels like a cash-in.
Yeah.
To me. It feels like EA, was kind of like Titanfall is not as profitable as something like Apex could be, because Battle Royale is all the rage right now. So just pump out a Battle Royale. At launch, there was almost nothing in this game. It was very bare bones. I know it's gotten better, but like, I don't see what separates this from any other Battle Royale on the market. I will say at least it's less pay-to-win broken than something like Warzone, because there are balancing options here. Like, this game is actually well balanced. I just don't find it fun. It seems like Titanfall, if you strip the heart and soul out of Titanfall and force you to play it with like 100 other people.
Yeah, that's actually a good description. Yeah, I remember we downloaded this and tried to give it a chance. Like, me and you legitimately played it, and we were like, I want to like this, but we couldn't. To me, the game felt like a kind of like a lamer version of something like Fortnite or something like that, where it's like, if I were just to play a battle royale game, I'd rather play like Fortnite or even something like Warzone.
I don't understand how Warzone, with all its balancing issues, is more fun for us.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
like somehow it feels like there's more personality to Warzone, which is insane to say.
I think my problem with Apex Legends was I thought everything about it was kind of boring to me. Like, the map was not that interesting. The guns were fine. To me, I felt like also the shooting. Now, maybe I'm bad, but I felt like the shooting was like worse gameplay wise than other battle royale games.
Every single time they reference Titanfall in relation to Apex, it only makes me wish I was playing Titanfall.
Yeah.
It does not seem like a cool little hidden thing. It just feels like, oh,
I'd rather play that.
I'd rather play the better game.
Right.
Now, maybe part of that is I prefer single player.
Mm-hmm.
But to be fair, I also am a big fan of Fortnite with all its flaws. So it's not that I'm against Battle Royale. I just think that this game is very unrefined. Its season content is very slow to come out, meaning that other than fun, which to be fair is why you should play a game anyway, but other than just enjoying the mechanics, there's not a reason to keep logging into this game. It doesn't feel rewarding to earn anything. There's not that much to earn. Every new season, which are pretty far apart compared to other battle royales, there's not as much to unlock. I appreciate that they've treated the team better who made this game, because they put them under less crunch. They made them develop less stuff at a time. So maybe this is hypocritical, but I will say that that also led to a game that felt like there was less point to play it, because with Fortnite, with Warzone, with all these things, no matter what you think, I mean, even Halo Infinite now with its multiplayer battle pass, no matter what you think of those battle passes, if you are progressing them, you are always earning something.
Right.
I never felt like I was making meaningful progress towards anything I cared about in Apex.
Yeah, which kind of just made the game worthless to play.
In terms of balancing, this is probably, I will say, one of the best battle royales out there. In terms of balancing, they did it right.
Right.
It's just not for us.
Right.
Number three. The next one is a game that we are not experts on, okay?
No.
And that's League of Legends. All right, look, I actually, unlike Nate here, I love the characters in League of Legends.
I don't.
I know you don't, and that's okay, but just hear me out. Characters like Ahri, characters like Evelyn, characters like Jinx, some of these characters, they are very iconic and interesting to me. Misfortune. I actually love these characters. Notice how I pick all the attractive women. But anyways, I think that a lot of these characters have like A+ character design. The cosmetics in this game are fantastic. They're really cool. The unlockables every season are great, and they make players feel like they want to actually get to Diamond or to get up into these higher tiers and do a good job. My problem with League of Legends is, to be good at this game, it must consume your whole life.
Yes.
And also, I don't find the gameplay that interesting in the first place. I don't love the top-down RTS-inspired MOBA-like gameplay that this has. I think that there are other games, like even Heroes of the Storm, that I would personally rather play. I know they're not the same. Part of it is not the fault of the game. I will say that. Every time we have had friends get into this game, they refuse to play anything else for like a year of their life.
Yeah, my reason for hating this game probably is a little personal. I will fully throw that out there.
Make up a cool name for this person, like Reginald Butler.
Okay, we'll pick Reginald Butler.
Cool.
So I used to have this roommate.
Reginald Butler.
Reginald Butler was his name.
The third.
Yeah, and me and him actually were pretty good friends, right? We'd hang out all the time, whatever. Like we were actually pretty good friends.
I remember the era where he replaced me.
Reginald, yeah. Reginald.
Where Reginald replaced me.
Well,
it's dark days.
He has a better name than you.
That's true.
That was about a year that we were really good friends. Then the second year that we lived together, this person got involved in League of Legends. And he got other friends that also were into League of Legends. Now, I will say, good for him. I'm sure he had a great time with his friends. I'm sure he did.
This is also the same person who was becoming very serious with a girl, though, and then blew her off multiple times for League of Legends, and then she lost interest in him, too.
Yes.
So he became very obsessed with this.
And when I say he played this all the time, I mean he played this all the time. Anytime he was in the room, he was on League. Every time. Until literally 3 a.m. every single day. He'd play from like... He'd play sometime in the morning, from like 8 o'clock in the morning until like 11.
Did he ever skip classes to play League?
Sometimes. He did. He literally did.
So this person was addicted.
Yeah, and then he got home from his class, and he would play all night. He would get up to go eat, and then he would come back and play. And I'm not joking, he would like be shouting, he would be screaming in his mic. It was the most obnoxious thing in the world. And it literally made me hate this game. Now, I will say that is not fair to the game. This
is not 5 games you like that we know are bad.
No, yeah,
this is 5 games that people like that we don't.
Also, when this guy first got into this, he tried to get me into it too.
Oh, so man, it's like the guy passing out the devil's lettuce on campus, trying to get his buddies into it.
So like I was watching him play, he was teaching me how to play. Right. I played a few rounds.
Yeah, and you were too good.
I tried to get into it. I was way too good for the game.
You hit diamond immediately.
Yes.
They were like, this must be a bot kick. And you're like, I can't play this game, man. Come on, Reginald.
So like
Reggie?
And then when I played the game, I didn't even get into it.
No.
So it's like I played the game, it just wasn't fun to me, and then now I just lost a really good friend of mine.
I have some other reasons too.
I don't like this game.
Like for me too, I have a chronic pain disorder. And to play this game, I kid you not, this is League of Legends when you're playing it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like shouting a racial slur at some point if you're like a big member of the fandom, and then like getting really angry and like getting on the chat and telling other people they're not taking the game seriously enough. Right. I will say for me, my reason for not liking it is slightly hypocritical.
Okay.
Because I have said 100,000 times that you should not let communities ruin games for you. The League of Legends community destroyed this game for me.
They're very toxic.
But to be fair to me, to somehow weasel my way around my hypocrisy, I will say that even if they didn't and they were great, I still wouldn't love this game because of how you have to play it. It hurts my hands to play. I don't like the gameplay style, even if it didn't. Right. I said it before, I love the character design. Hey, some of the best Rule 34 out there. It's League of Legends and Overwatch.
Yeah, and Winnie the Pooh.
And Flowers for Algernon. But, like... I just can't give it a pass just because, it helps me pass...
Right.
No, not November.
Right, exactly.
I guess fail it, but...
Well, and also the other thing, just one quick thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
My problem with League of Legends also...
You were into the girl that he was into.
I was.
And then she blew him off, or blew her off.
She blew him.
And that made you mad. And he was playing League during it.
Exactly.
And he hit Diamond right as he finished.
Exactly. I hated that. I had to watch from afar.
Why were you in the room?
I was watching.
I was getting tips.
I was like drawing Rule 34.
Oh, okay. Of Flowers for Algernon.
Yeah, exactly. No. My last thing I want to say about this is it's the same opinion I have about World of Warcraft.
Okay.
Now, I like World of Warcraft. I think it's fun. I think there's a lot of things about it that can be fun, but it consumes your life. In order to be good at this, you have to play like 10 hours a day. And it's like, look, if that's your thing, fine. I have too many games that I want to play to have to sit on a game for 10 hours a day, or else I'm going to be garbage at the game.
It's why I can't play fighting games competitively. Or
I know. It's like, that's the only thing you can play, and I don't find that fun.
Number 2, the numero dos. The next one we have, I think that we vented all of our anger on the previous, on poor League of Legends. By the way, League of Legends also did create KDA, okay? Can I say that?
Yes, they did.
KDA was made from League of Legends, so they get a pass just for that.
Yeah.
I partially love the game for making KDA. Anyways, moving on from that. It's Battlefield.
This is a hot take.
Is it really?
Well,
I think the last one will be the hot take.
The next one will be the hot take.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I thought you meant the last one we did.
No. But with Battlefield... I really liked Battlefield 1. I know that is like the most casual game in the series other than the Bad Company games.
But it was good.
I'm fine admitting that. I am not good at Battlefield, okay? But with Battlefield, I really only liked Battlefield 1. Now, I don't mean the first one. I mean World War 1.
Yeah.
I thought that it was fun. It's the first time in the franchise I can ever think of where I enjoyed the single-player aspect of it. I actually got into the history of it. Like, when they talked about it, I was like, oh, that's really cool. That's interesting. Learning really things fun. I didn't know. And I had a good time with that. And then when we got online and played it, too, it was also really enjoyable. It was one of the first Battlefields that also didn't like completely suffer from overpowered sniping from across the entire map because of the time period. There weren't the best snipers in World War One. They existed, but they weren't the best. And it's not like now, you know?
Yeah.
But with this game, I feel like slowly over time, they have ripped more and more content out of this franchise to the point where it is becoming a joke. I know that there are people really excited for 2042, and that's cool. I'm actually genuinely happy for you. But if you compare the content amount in that game to old games, there is like nothing here.
There's not even a story.
It's become lazier and lazier. Even the multiplayer has become much lazier. You know, it's not even just like, oh, Jay likes single player shooters, that's why he doesn't like Battlefield. No, every aspect of it has become lazier over the years.
Yeah.
You go back and you look at something like 2142 way back, or, Battlefield 3 even, like the dynamic, destructible environments, the lighting systems that pushed ahead consoles. We had like the Xbox 360 Brick Edition looking like a freaking gaming PC when it was running Battlefield 3.
Yeah, we had me bricked up too playing.
Absolutely. Like, the visuals were stunning.
Yeah.
And the way that they had destructible environments and everything was fantastic. But over time, all of those aspects have become lazier to the point where I don't know how this is still Battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, my main problem with it, and this is going to piss people off.
That's okay.
To me, Battlefield has always been discount Call of Duty. And even nowadays, even with the bad Call of Duties that have come out in the last 5 years, to me, Battlefield is always a step below Call of Duty. And as fun as Battlefield 1 was, I liked the game. I actually did. I actually really liked the original Battlefield games a lot. And then starting with Battlefield 4, to me, they got really dumb. And they kind of lost a lot of what made them fun. Like, the original Battlefields were so fun because it had destructible environments. If you wanted to do something like that, you went to Battlefield over COD.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not saying, like...
It had realism.
Right, exactly.
Compared to COD, it wasn't realistic.
Right.
But compared to Call of Duty,
yeah, I mean, in that same era, you had, like, the Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare 2, 3, like Black Ops 2. Those will always be better games than any Battlefield game out there, I think. But... to me, it's like Battlefield's always just been the game you go to if you want to destroy the environment.
Well, and also, it was the game that you went to on PC.
Yes.
If you wanted, like, a serious PC shooter.
Yeah.
That's why I say, back in the day, I actually like some of those older Battlefields. I especially reference 2140. I always mess up the date, but I think it is Battlefield...
2069, was it?
No, I think it's 2142.
Yeah.
And obviously now there's 2042, but back in the day, this was a really interesting futuristic shooter, and it was very unique. And those Battlefield games always felt unique back in the day. I think over time, I think that when they became mainstream, they did become discount Call of Duty. Yes. I think before that, they were their own thing.
Right.
Around the time of Battlefield 3, as much as I like it, and after, they started losing sight of what made them Battlefield. I think the reason we like Battlefield 1 so much is because it felt like Call of Duty, but bigger maps.
Yeah.
That's really it. It didn't feel
like
a
World War 1 feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a problem if your series has strayed so far from what it was that the only reason we like it is because it's like something else.
Yeah, and that's why... and
that's not good.
I know, and that's why I've never understood the Battlefield fans. This is not a bash on them. I've never understood them where they've always, like, sworn by Battlefield's better than COD. And I'm like, yes, there's been some bad CODs in the last few years. I will fully understand that. I will fully admit that. But to me, after Battlefield 3, how can you objectively say that this is a better series? Like, it's just not. Like, all the Battlefield games that have come out have just been, like, discount Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not good.
Yeah, and I mean, they do have a lot of the same problems now, too. I think one thing that they used to do better was, like, they didn't nickel and dime the consumer.
Yeah,
now they do.
Yep.
So, like, some of the few things that it did better, Nickel and Diamond the Consumer, destructible environments, you know, all this stuff, they don't have that as much anymore.
Yeah.
Number 1!
Splat.
Oh man, this is the final one.
We might want to just cut this off now. Before we
Just
get
a
like
top
swatted.
If people love this game, that's fantastic. I am actively glad people enjoy this. One of my best friends, Alex from Podcast Now, who I have on this channel all the time, this is like his favorite thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect the people who like Uncharted, but we do not like Uncharted. Well, kids, this should also be a life lesson that your opinion can always change unless it's that you hate Brightburn once again, because I do want to say that I did go back and actually played through the rest of Uncharted 2. I had not completed a playthrough I had been working on before, and have been playing Uncharted 3. And I want to say I stand by my criticisms of this franchise. I'm going to still let them play. But I like Uncharted a lot more than I did when I recorded this video about 2 weeks ago. So I will say that I did kind of think that it was a little bit disingenuous to not add that in here, because some of the things that I didn't love about Uncharted 1 and 2, I actually really like in Uncharted 3, especially how much time you get to spend with Sully and other stuff like that. I like how those two characters play off of each other a lot. But I am going to get into my other criticisms of this, because I do still think they stand, at least to me. And I don't love this franchise nearly as much as most people do, but I will say now I at least like the franchise and I enjoy it. I like the first game.
Yeah, I actually like the first game. I will say that. I actually had a good time playing it.
I mean, it's probably the clunkiest.
Yeah.
But it was like, it felt like it had novelty to it. I don't understand how people say Uncharted 2 has the best story.
To me, Uncharted 2 is the worst one.
Yeah, I mean, the only part I liked about it was Chloe.
And I didn't like Chloe.
And I didn't want, like, I hated Elena.
I love Elena. See,
I hate Elena.
I loved Elena, and I hated Chloe.
And I think Elena is super annoying. And so that's my problem with this series. I think we have different problems with this series, but my problem is the characters I am supposed to care about, I do not. To me, Nathan Drake is worse discount Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones. If he is not to you, that's great. I am glad that people get so much out of him. But I really felt like Naughty Dog threw away a lot of interesting mascots and ideas they had before this, and they just became an Uncharted company. And I don't find Uncharted bad.
Right.
I think that as a one-off or a couple games, it's a really cool idea. You know, but even the stuff that people say the Uncharted franchise does best, like finding artifacts and learning things, I honestly think the new Tomb Raider trilogy does better.
Yeah.
I will stand here and tell you that I truly believe the new Tomb Raider trilogy is better than any Uncharted game that has come out.
That's a hot take.
I honestly do. I think they're more fun. I think they're more, more enjoyable is the same thing. I think there's better customization, like cosmetics and unlockables that make you feel interested in what you're doing. The world feels less linear. Even when it is linear, you feel like you have agency to where you're going, even when you don't.
Right.
I don't think I have ever felt like that playing Uncharted. I've never felt like I have agency to where I'm going. Everywhere I am feels like little hallway leads to big room, even if it's outside, leads to little hallway, leads to big room, leads to medium-sized hallway, leads to set piece clearly created for E3 to show off the power of the PS3 or 4 or whatever, leads to hallway. That is how I have always felt about it. And unlike The Last of Us, I truly do not believe that the story's merit, or that the story quality has enough merit behind it to excuse the gameplay problems. But for some reason, I've always been able to care more about the other Naughty Dog characters more than anyone outside of, like, Sully. Sully was like the guy I really like in this franchise. I'm supposed to care about Elena, but I find her to be such a nag that I do not care what she thinks. To the point where, like, when there was fear of her breaking up with Nate, I would say, please do. Like, I literally wanted them to split up. That relationship felt toxic to me. These are very hot takes, and I understand that. I am not telling people they can't like Uncharted. I'm just saying, like, when we're looking at the Naughty Dog library, this is probably the bottom of the barrel for me. Like, I love Jak and Daxter more than this. I love The Last of Us more than this. I just don't get into this.
But yeah, my problem with Uncharted is being a history nerd. When I played the original Uncharted,
Were you fact checking it?
No.
Okay.
I was really into the story, actually.
Okay.
I actually was, because I was like, oh, this is actually a really interesting, time period. This is something cool he's exploring. So I got really into the game, and even when it got kind of ridiculous, like with the zombie things that he unleashed, I kind of felt like it wasn't ridiculous, that it wasn't like believable.
I mean, it was no more ridiculous. Like, yeah, I could dismiss that too. It was no more ridiculous than the Ark of the Covenant melting the faces of Nazis.
Yes, it was
stuff like that. The magic wasn't the problem.
It was like kind of ridiculous, but not unbelievably ridiculous.
Right.
My problem with the series is probably no one else's problem, but it's mine. After the first Uncharted game, I felt like the games got ridiculous. And the stories were not as interesting to me. The puzzles were not as interesting to me. The puzzles were annoying. To me, I don't really like the series.
Can I add something short onto that?
Okay.
Tomb Raider, to me, never felt like it had the most realistic history ever.
Yeah.
It never did. But it gave the illusion that it did. Do you know what I mean by that?
Oh, I know what you mean.
There was always magic. That always fit into Tomb Raider, and even something back in like Tomb Raider Legend where you're finding the sword of like Arthur, like Excalibur. There was magic associated to it. There were spirits. That always felt like it fit what Tomb Raider wanted to be. But I never felt pulled out of the experience by that. I will say that with Uncharted, I always felt like that game was trying very hard to be more down to earth, very, very serious Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but once they started introducing a lot of those elements to it, like you're talking about, it got way more fantastical. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it felt like the game had an identity crisis, like that series, of what it wanted to be. And I feel like once this series became like a PlayStation headline, it started going more in the direction of whatever we can do to be flashy and capture audiences, and not in the direction of what one is. And maybe a game will come along in Battlefield, Maybe a day will come along in League of Legends. Maybe a day will come in Uncharted, where we love that entry or something.
Right.
But I don't think that has happened so far.
No.
The only one out of these that I know that we love some games in is Metroid.
Yeah, and Battlefield 1.
Yeah,
we did like that game.
Yeah, that was really fun. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. I am certain you will. What do you think about these franchises? I'm sure most people did not make it to this point in the video. It's very long. These just weren't for us. Any final thoughts, Nate?
I think I've exhausted all my thoughts here.
I just don't want people to think that we're saying you can't like this.
Well, no. Yeah, if people are into this, fine.
Yeah.
I'm happy you're into this.
Yeah.
I'm into Assassin's Creed. I know there's people that are not.
So let us know what you think in the comments down below. Please be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this, whether you agreed or not. Leave a dislike if you dislike. I know you can't see that anymore, but on most platforms, which is dumb, but I can still see it, so I'll know if you disagreed. Let us know. Please be sure to, share your thoughts, and also check out everything in the description down below. We have a secondary channel where we play through games together and all kinds of other stuff, including the social medias down there. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shway.